All right, welcome to the Brotherhood Beyond Business Podcast. Today, we're going to talk with Mark Greenwood on Ultimate Wellness about what he enjoys about being in a mastermind group. So, first question today, Mark, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what drew you to join the mastermind group?
Sure. Thanks for having me, Trev. So a little bit of background on myself. Like I said, Ultimate Wellness is a company I formed back in 2010. It was something that I had been building up over time as a full-time physical therapist, trying to piece things together, and knew I needed something on my own. And so with that, was able to slowly build up a business to a point where I felt comfortable leaving my full-time job, but knew in order to truly run a successful business, I needed something and someone to guide me in a better way other than what I knew for myself, because I knew my skills and my background were great in terms of hands-on stuff, but in terms of running a business, I needed more guidance at the time. So that's what led me to really joining a mastermind at that time.
And just to give you guys some feedback, Mark, Ultimate Wellness is a fitness business, right?
Correct.
Okay, so they're focusing more on a small industry there. So a lot of things in the mastermind group that we always talk about is going to be focused on small business focus, and so that's Mark's running a small business. And so from the mastermind group, to give anybody that has never been a part of a mastermind group, just to give you guys a quick breakdown of what a mastermind group is. So they're just a group of guys. We do ours in intimate settings, so 10 people or less, kind of. Well, it can be more technically, but usually 10 or less. And it's more of an intimate setting. There's tons of different types of mastermind styles out there, but the whole idea is having a group of people that are peers that can help you overcome the things that you need to overcome in your business. So with that in mind, Mark, what do you enjoy most about being part of a mastermind group?
For me, it's the relationships, just the ones that I'm able to foster, having people that you can confide in and collaborate with in order to help each other grow together to new heights and new successes, like that both in business and in life. Like, to me, that's invaluable.
Can you share a memorable experience or moment from the mastermind group that stands out to you?
Oh, I mean, that's tough. There's so many, right? Like I said, being part of a mastermind group for several years, there's lots of memorable ones. So like really, whether it's just sharing personal stories or about family or rough times that, one or all of us have gone through, really just enjoying meals, drinks, and like friendly competition within the group. That, to me, that's what stands out. So I wouldn't say there was any one particular thing, because it's a common theme, like at least for me and the people that I've been associated with. It's a common theme that makes our bond strong, is being able to do the things like that: share meals, share drinks, share games and competition, and really just have each other's back.
Yeah, I think so. Me and Mark, just so you guys know, me and Mark have been in a mastermind together for I don't know how many years now, 5, 6 years, something along that range. So we've gotten to know each other really well, but it's so much deeper than just like business. So when we started the Brotherhood Mastermind, the whole idea was to be more than just about business, because conceptually, the longer we were in a mastermind group, we realized that even business is really important. We talk about business all the time, but it's the relationships we developed and the intimacy we created inside of those relationships that was important. And we also, as I think has grown over time too, we've talked more and more about different aspects of life, like creating wealth in our personal lives and really figuring out why we're doing business, more than just having a conversation on how to grow more either clients or members or things of that nature. So I think that's a evolving theme in our mastermind group for sure, is the idea that it's way more than just business. And I would say the same thing, that the moments that stick out to me are rarely ever business ideas that I ever got from it. Like, I mean, obviously things have moved my business forward a ton, but I can't sit there and be like, man, that's one idea I got from the mastermind. It's usually like, man, this one conversation that we had or this one time we had was so awesome that I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah.
Cool. So benefits and impact. So what are some of the key benefits you've gained from being in a mastermind group?
Well, we kind of alluded to it a little bit. It really, I think being in a mastermind helps you level up in all aspects of your life. And, whether it's business, whether it's personal, whether it's health, whether it's finance, like being around positive associations, right, is just very important. Like, life is a team sport. Like, no one is successful on their own. And so when you can have a strong team around you, it just makes life and the things that you're going through that much better, right? And that much easier. Like nothing in life is easy, right? But when you're going through things and facing challenges, it helps to have that team around you to either generate ideas, to give you encouragement, provide you with a challenge if you're not pulling your weight, not living up to your potential, right? So that it just helps in all areas. Like I said, as a man, as a father, as a husband, as a friend, as a business owner, as a member of the community. Like those are areas where I know I am always looking to improve, and when I can surround myself with people who provide positive examples of that, then it's only going to benefit me, and hopefully I'm doing the same thing in return.
Yeah, it's actually, I read in a book today about the concept that seeing other people do things gives you confidence to do it yourself. And so like, that's like people with DIY stuff, they go to YouTube and it's like, oh, that person can do it. I can probably figure out how to do this. Right. And I think that's one power of the mastermind group is you see somebody in your group killing it at, let's say, growing more personal training clients. And you're like, man, I mean, if they could do it, I know them. I know that person really, like Danny. I know Danny. Danny can do it. No offense to Danny, he's not that much different than what I am. So like, it gives you confidence to be like, well, the only thing really holding me back in this equation is me. So then you have that confidence to be like, okay, this person can do it. I think that's really empowering, seeing other people win, because then it gives you the chance, like, oh, if they can win, I can win that same way.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. So that's always an awesome part. Can you name one thing specifically, personal or professional, that has impacted your business, your life in general, the most?
Like I said, professionally, it's allowed me to expand my business from someone who was just like being an unsure beginner entrepreneur, knowing that like my confidence as a coach and a physical therapist, are great, but as a business owner, they were certainly lacking in the beginning, and so having people around to model, to emulate, to confide in, like, and having that accountability of someone other than myself, right, certainly has helped impact me on a professional level. And then personally, like I said, just having those people around you that I know have my back, right, that I can count on them, because they've gone through similar struggles, right, as a business owner, right. And so when you're involved in different groups, I liken it to being in a fraternity in college, right. So like you're all individuals, but you go through common struggles and events that bring you closer together, right. And I think that's really what I equate being in a mastermind to the most, is like being in a fraternity for me. Like, it just helps in all, like I said, aspects, personally and professionally. I've certainly had some ups and downs, and the ups are more enjoyable when you're experiencing it with other people, and the downs are sometimes easier to handle and much shorter lived when you have positive people around you to support you and help pull you through.
Yeah, it's the concept for all business owners, especially small business owners, is lonely at the top, because we don't usually have business partners, or you just don't have enough high level employees that you can really bounce those kind of things off of too. And the stress is because most of the people working for you either part time, or they're just not like in a management level for you. So having like that, those other people that are going through the same struggles, like, oh, like this business owner struggles with this too, I'm not alone. Especially during COVID, that was a huge thing, was the fact that we were able to bounce stuff off each other so much as we were going through hell, in a sense.
Yeah, and that was something that I was going to point out in terms of like a specific struggle. Like, it was definitely COVID. Like, COVID hit the fitness industry super hard. Like, everybody was affected by it, but like the fitness industry, I know of plenty of businesses that did not survive, but I know of everyone in our little circle did, right, and got all better off for it, right? Became stronger in different ways. Some people may have, higher income or more clients, or changed, locations, or, business models. But the fact that, we struggled, we went through it. And for the most part, a lot of it, we went through it together, certainly helped, I think, all of us individually and collectively.
Yeah, I honestly, that's like the perfect testament to a mastermind group was that because honestly, I probably would have been out of the fitness industry at that point. Like, I mean, it's like the side that all of us were going through it together and we're kind of figuring out that model and how to do it. But I couldn't imagine being on my own and not having a group like us and be like, man, everything's against me. Why don't I just close my doors kind of thing? So I do think that was a big time for us to be in a mastermind group was during that period of time when I don't know as a fitness business owner if there's going to be any worst time we ever go through and as a collective,
Sure.
So
Right?
go ahead.
Let's hope not.
Yeah, let's hope not. Who knows? We got a lot more years of doing this. So
That's right.
Okay, so one big thing in the mastermind group is in-person events. So in our mastermind groups, we do 2 in-person events a year, which is by far my favorite part of the mastermind group. We've been in mastermind groups where it's 4 times a year. The only negative to that sometimes is families and travel and that kind of stuff. So 2 times a year always seemed to work better. So we've kind of modeled ours around a 2-time-a-year model. But when we see each other, the cool part is it feels like we just saw each other yesterday, which is really cool.
Yeah.
What do you love about attending in-person mastermind events?
Well, like I said before, that's how you can really build a relationship with someone, right? Like you and I are talking to each other right now, and that's great. We can see each other, we can hear each other, but being in person, I love being able to listen and to learn from and to be able to look into someone's eyes and lift them up in their pursuit of excellence. And I love being able to get together and work hard, right? Because that's really what we are meant to do is work hard at improving our businesses. But even more so, I then love the chance to unwind and play hard, right? For whatever that means to anybody, whether it's actual competitions, games, sports, things like that, or just like I said, having a great meal and a round of drinks to enjoy each other's company. It's like I said, you can't experience that unless you are able to reach out, put your hand on someone, look in their eyes, listen to their voice, things like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think for most people that come to a mastermind group, so in our groups, our group has always been a little bit different because we've always really found the camaraderie part really important. There's other mastermind groups that have never, not always had that camaraderie part. That's a big part of how we've always done it. And the stuff after the meetings are super powerful. Like they're very business focused, but the stuff after the meetings can be really, really like obviously relationship building, but then we always try to find a way to be competitive in some sort of way. It might be playing pickleball. It might be like trying to pick up basketball or like just going to like cornhole, something of that nature. And I think that just, especially being like the Brotherhood group is men only. So I've always known, like, I've seen that as like a group of guys. There's just that level of competitiveness that you just don't get to do as an adult as much as you used to. That's fun to do. We never take it to an extreme where we're like playing super serious tackle football or something. But I think that's really fun to have a competitive atmosphere.
Oh, for sure.
And then just in the meetings themselves, so inside of the meetings themselves, how could you describe the energy of being able to like talk to somebody in person about their business versus like the virtual calls?
Well, I said in person, like everyone brings certainly a positive energy. They're there to get better, right? No one's there to really just go through the motions. Like, you have to travel, you have to take time away from your regular day-to-day operations. Most of us are taking time away from family and things like that. And so it's an investment, right? And so people are serious, or at least they should be, about the time that they're spending. And so they want to make sure that not only are they helping each other, right, get the most out of it. So being attentive, being alert, having a sense of awareness and energy, but because the more that you're able to give the group, then the more you're going to be able to get and receive from that group. So no one is an energy sucker, right? When no one's sapping the energy out of the room when we're at these live events. Really, like I said, they're just there to bring everyone up and help get more out of the meeting and the experience, right? Because I've been certainly numerous Zoom meetings, and they can get long, they can get boring, they can get tedious, they can be distracting, for sure. When you're not in the same room truly with somebody else, but when you're surrounded by people in person, like unless you are not really a good human being, meaning manners and, values and things like that, then, chances are you're going to make a positive contribution to that group. So like I said, the energy there is just always, that's what makes it that much better than, virtual meetings, is because you can almost feel the energy. I don't know if you've ever been to like an exciting sporting event and you can feel a different sense of energy or like an electric feeling around you in a crowd. Like there's that, right? There's that compared to just meeting somebody virtually.
Yeah, and we also we try to stay the last couple of years tried to stay in Airbnbs as well. Not always possible, especially if it's the size of groups, but Airbnbs, there's that energy as soon as you like get together, meaning as soon as you walk in the door and you see those people, it's almost hard to go to bed if you get in like on a Monday night or something. It's hard to go to bed because you have so much to catch up on, which is such a cool feeling to be like. It's almost like you said, being back in college with your fraternity brothers, where it's like, man, like I haven't seen you in so long, and I could care less if I sleep because all I care about is just engaging with you. It's just one of the best feelings as an adult male. Like you just don't have those kind of relationships as much as you used to have, and it's just so amazing to have it again.
For sure.
But another thing that you brought up in there that I want to let people know is that I have been in a mastermind group. It was before you joined the group. There was an energy sucker in the group, and it was horrible. Literally, it made live meetings uncomfortable. Cool part was that they were removed from the group pretty quickly, and that's something that we are focusing on as well. We have a vetting process. It's not always perfect. It's not going to always be perfect as we go through the process. You kind of got to get to a live meeting and see how people do. But that is something that we're going to protect in our mastermind groups. Is energy suckers ruin it for everybody, and we'll get rid of them ASAP. So I know you never really experienced that, but I have experienced it once before, and it made the live meetings not as fun as they should be.
Yeah, I mean, certainly not. It's certainly not my experience in the mastermind group, but like we've all experienced it in life, whether it's a classroom or a work environment or a family gathering, where it might be. Like all of us have been around negative people or people that just drain the energy out of the room. And thankfully, for me, like in the mastermind groups, I haven't experienced that, but I certainly know what it's like. Right. So that's why I know the difference between like having a good positive room versus, somebody who's bringing it down.
Yeah. So in our mastermind groups now, this isn't always common at all, and it's not an expectation exactly in our future mastermind either, but we've always done a good job of communicating a lot in between virtual calls too, meaning texting or just finding a way to check in with each other. How important have you seen that, of having a person to be able to reach out to, and probably, somebody will get back to you within like at least a few hours usually?
Yeah, no, I mean, again, for me, I'm a people person. I'm all about relationships. I mean, that, knowing who I am. So to me, I like to stay connected, some more so, sometimes more so than others. Again, it's not an expectation, right? But to me, it's something I love to be able to do. Some people you want to, be able to communicate with on a daily basis, some people on a weekly basis, some people on a monthly basis, but it's being able to reach out via an email or a group text thread or a private thread, or saying, hey, like, let's jump on a quick Zoom call. You've been so accommodating with your time and your skill set in terms of what you do, helping me out. It's just, like I said, it's invaluable to be able to do that. And thankfully the people that we have in our group are all accommodating to that. I think anybody would make the time to accommodate whatever it is that one of us needed. And I just think that's great.
Yeah, it is something special. Again, I don't think it's something you have to do all the time, meaning like somebody doesn't have to reply within a day. But even the people that are slow to reply sometimes in our mastermind text groups, is when they do respond, it's like very impactful too, which is really cool too. It's like, okay, I can't check this, I have kids, I can't be checking this all the time, whatever. But when they do, it's really impactful. And I think there's value in that too. And then we have other people that are just like, every thought that comes to their brain, like they put in a text. And so it all depends on a different group. I think that regardless, it shows the different personalities. And like you said, it creates, it's okay not to respond fast, but when I do, I'm going to make sure that I really pay attention when I do. So I think that's a powerful part of a group. Is the better the group, the more you develop the group, and the better the relationships get in the group, especially those live things, is like, you just feel like you owe it to it's no longer, no longer it becomes a true friendship, right? It eventually no longer becomes like just mastermind members. Just like I mean, when I talk to you guys, I think of like my best friends, right? And so it's like when I want to respond to you, I'm always like, man, like I would respond to my best friend. I'm definitely going to take time to respond to these guys. I can't do it always at every moment, but when I get a chance, I'm going to really think about it.
Yeah.
This is one question that I've had people ask me about with like mastermind groups is having other people, in a sense, a group of people influence your decision making on your business and the growth of your business. Is that something that has been a struggle for you? Do you feel like you've been good at being able to take their information and do what you need with it, or do you feel like you're one of those people that's been manipulated along the way and you feel like the group has pushed you in the wrong direction too often?
So I think there are levels to that, as you go through experience, and depending on your makeup as an individual, I've seen people certainly change in their attitudes and behaviors in terms of interaction with groups over the years. Sometimes it can be easy to be overwhelmed by louder opinions or voices, and it may or may not be exactly what you want. So there can be that in a group, but I think when you surround yourself with people, you learn to become, or at least I think I have, a better listener, more open-minded, willing to challenge and be challenged by others. No one ever wants to be challenged or questioned, really. But in order to truly grow as a professional and on a personal basis, like, we don't know it all. And so if we're just surrounded by yes men, right, we're not going to reach our full potential. Like, you see that in all aspects of life, business, sports, et cetera, right? There's always going to be a downfall if that's all you're surrounded by. But, those who are willing to challenge and be challenged, right, in order to make themselves individually and contribute to a stronger team, are the ones I think are going to be more successful in any area of life, particularly, your question was about business, but yeah, it just kind of depends on your makeup too, right? If you're in a strong group, which I know we are, knowing that people have your best interest in mind, is always the end game, right? It may not be what you want to hear or what you want to do, but if you're allowing yourself to be mature and, like I said, open-minded, able to listen, challenge, be challenged, and make your own decisions, right? But with the guidance of those around you, right? Like the whole part of the mastermind, right? If you think back to, Think and Grow Rich, if you've ever read it, that's the whole concept, right? Like having a collective set of other eyes, ears, and minds to make clearer decisions, right? When it comes to, all aspects of life. So you have to be willing to allow yourself to be vulnerable. Like, if you truly want to grow as a business leader, as a leader of yourself, your family, your community, I think you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable and to be challenged, because if you're not, then you're never going to truly reach your potential.
Yeah, I completely agree with all that. And I know when I first started a mastermind group, this was even like I was in one a couple of years before you joined, and I was the initial person that was like, had to have my voice heard first. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things too that I encourage people when they're in a mastermind group, let people grow, let people over time, they'll get better and better and realizing that they don't have to be the smartest person in the room. And when you're new to a mastermind group, sometimes people want to be like the voice heard because they want to be like, oh, I want to add value. And like you said, the value that you provide for me personally is the fact that you sit back and listen to all the things before you start just like giving advice. And I think that's like the growth of time over time too, is the fact that you start to realize like, I'm going to get heard, and I need to make sure though I know all the details so that way when I do say something, it's super impactful.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. I try not to be too reactionary, right? And take it in and be able to give hopefully some sound advice, some sage wisdom.
What's that? One of those things that I wish we could go back 5 years and see ourselves in that room again 5 years ago and see like how our conversations then were different than now, and how much we were speaking over each other back then versus now, where I think we sit back way better, even virtually, we sit back way better and listen for the things that we need to be answering versus like just trying to like spit a new idea out.
Agreed.
I know you're big into personal development. It's like my favorite thing in the world, honestly, is personal development. It's probably the thing that's led me into the fitness industry, and then led me into my next career is the development. And then really mastermind group. The reason we are building the kind of mastermind group building is more than just business. It's about building your whole life, because I think personal development is the thing that gets me the most excited in life.
Yeah.
So how does being in a mastermind group, how has it contributed to your personal development?
I mean, like you, I mean, I don't want to say I'm addicted to personal development, but over the last, I would say, 4 to 5 years, I've really turned up my attention to improving me, right? Like I've always, done a pretty good job of it, but the last, I would say, like I said, 4 to 5 years, it's about becoming better in all aspects of my life. And that's really hard to do on your own. You can read a million books, watch videos, podcasts, etc., from all the leaders and all the successful people in life, and that's great. But being part of a group, just like we've talked about several times, it's having those other voices, those other experiences, that level of accountability, that level of competition, that level of loyalty and respect. It's hard to have all those things. You may possess them as an individual, but if you can't share those and experience those, if you can't give and get those from other people, then it I don't want to say it's not worth it. It's just harder to it's harder to get as much out of it on your own as you can from other people, right? Like you want more love, you have to give more love. If you want more respect, you have to give more respect. But in any level of whatever area of personal development, yes, you are trying to improve personally, but you can't do it alone. You just can't.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's something I've taken for granted over the years of being in the mastermind group. I think because we've been in it so long, I kind of don't realize how much I've been leveling up my life year after year after year, and the influence of the accountability of the mastermind group. That there's multiple levels of accountability. So one, obviously, we've added a new accountability layer to our business, to it now, focusing on the most important thing we should be focusing on. But realistically, over the years, the accountability component has been just the fact that one, I don't want to be the person that shows up to the next meeting and didn't move something forward, right? That's kind of, in a sense, almost embarrassing that I like didn't make a little progress on it, or at least start to put things in place. So I think that's a big pusher. And then the other part is, I think in the group, everybody else is really good about calling you out when you're kind of repeating the same things you haven't gotten done. And that's a level of accountability that is instilled without even having to like manage it. It's just there.
Yeah.
And that's a great part about mastermind groups that I think are overlooked, are just the accountability component in general. So that personal development and is like something that, even being a mastermind group, honestly, without even thinking about you're doing personal development, you are doing personal development because you're learning from like-minded people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's personal development, but again, it's really hard to do it alone.
Yeah, especially because like it's the idea is like if you're doing it alone, in a sense, you're kind of the smartest person in the room at all times, and you can never learn from this. You can't, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're not going to learn anything. So
You're in the wrong room, right?
Yeah. What advice would you give someone considering to join a mastermind group?
I mean, if you haven't picked up on it by now, like I would highly recommend it, to anyone who's serious about leveling up, and we've used that term, but it's applicable, right? In any area, like whether it's personal or professional. I can't, stress enough and repeat enough. Like life is a team sport or game, right? Like you have to have others around you. I mean, look at the best people in the world at whatever they do. the Elon Musks, the Michael Jordans, the Tiger Woods, whoever and whatever are the cream of the crop. They did not get there by themselves. Okay. Even if they want to tell you that, right? They didn't get there by themselves. So, whatever level of success you are looking to achieve and whatever that success means to you, you're going to have a much greater chance of getting there or exceeding it if you can surround yourself with a powerful mastermind group.
If you could list one characteristic somebody needs or needs to work on to be in a mastermind group, what would be that one characteristic?
Ooh. I think you have to be a giver. You have to be a giving person. Like, you can't make it all about you, because you can go to a million courses and just absorb information, right? But it won't help you in the long run. The more you give, meaning the more you listen, right? You give your ear, the more you ask your voice, like ask questions, the more you challenge others, like you have to not it, and it's hard for me, like you can't try to be the most popular or the most likable, right? You have to care, right? And if you care about those other people, they'll see it, they'll feel it, they'll experience it, and it'll come back to you. And the more, like I said, the more you give, just like those golden rules in life, right? The more you give, the more you'll receive. It'll come back to you. So you have to be a giver.
I love that answer, because one of our main 3 core values of the mastermind group is give more than you take. So it's the idea is like, we've been in mastermind groups where people are takers more than givers, and you can tell they're always kind of pulling stuff instead of giving back. So I think, and people will realize that very quickly. And so that, just like you said, then all of a sudden they'll realize, well, this person's just trying to take all the time, so I'm probably not going to dedicate any time outside of the calls to them. But the people that are giving all the time the calls, those are the ones you're reaching out to, like, what else can I help you with? So
yeah.
All right, cool. Let's go ahead and wrap this podcast up. I appreciate your time, Mark. Is there anything else you'd like to share about your experiences in mastermind groups?
Well, I mean, I'm not really sure what more I can say. I think we've said it all, and we've said a few things a few times over. Like I'm just truly grateful for my experience, within our personal mastermind throughout the years. I've been in several, but obviously, ours holds the most value and impact to me, near and dear to my heart. Like I said, I know the masterminds themselves, they help make me who I am. And I just looking forward to the opportunity to be able to continue to help other like-minded individuals continue to grow and just get the most out of life, right? Because that's what we're here for, right? Get the most out of it.
Yeah, I mean, that last sentence you said is really where the Brotherhood was built, because the concept that, like, I think a lot of business owners are driven by this guru society of make more money, right? It's like, just make more money, and I'm 38, you're 50, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, he looks way better than 50, but the idea, at this point in life, it's like, money is important, but so less important as I get older. I mean, it's so amazing how the older I get, the less and less and less money becomes important to me. Maybe it's because we have a little bit more money than we did when we were 20 years old, but at the same time, I'm not rich by any means. And so it's the idea that, like, all the other parts of life, though, they're starting to escape fast. You start to realize they escape faster now. And so, and they're so much more enjoyable. You have kids. I don't have kids, but I did get married in the last couple of years, and I started to see, like, how, man, there's a heck of a lot of life out there that I'm completely been avoiding for almost 20 years. And so that's where the Brotherhood was built, was around the ideas. Like, I want other people to start leveling up every aspect of life. We call them the domains, the 10 domains of life, leveling up those different domains of life, because you're only have one time around. And if you spend, like, let's say you pass away at, 60 years old, and you spent 40 of those years just grinding on business, man, you got nothing out of life. So I want to make sure that we're appreciating the other aspects. And, like, the mastermind group is important, because I sometimes even think it's not even a mastermind group anymore. Mastermind, it's like a growth development group. I just call it mastermind group because realistically that's the best term I have for it. But it's way more than just business. It's about life and leveling up every part. So Mark, I really appreciate your time today. I really appreciate you jumping on a call with me. Thanks for joining the Brotherhood Beyond Business podcast. For anybody that is interested in joining the Brotherhood Beyond Business Mastermind group, our launch date for our next one is in Q3 of 2024. I don't have the exact launch dates yet, but if you want and you're interested in it, please reach out to us and we'll get you the details on it. And there's a pretty detailed process to become part of our mastermind group, but if you pass the things, it's well worth it. Everybody else, have a great day. Thanks for joining our podcast.